Welcome to the Dream Life is Real Life podcast with your host, Hanna Hermanson, bringing you real life stories of people who realized their dreams to educate and inspire you to create your legacy of abundance now.
Hey everyone, today we have Wade Lightheart with us. Wade is an advisor to the American Anti-Cancer Institute, certified sports nutritionalist, 3-time all-natural national bodybuilding champion, former Mr. Universe competitor, and the author of the book, Staying Alive in a Toxic World. He's been in the health industry for over 25 years and coached thousands of clients worldwide. He is also a president and co-founder of BiOptimizers, the supplements company dedicated to discovering, presenting, and sharing strategies backed by cutting-edge research that leads to healthy high performance. BiOptimizers has been featured on many of the biggest podcasts in the industry, including this one, as well as Bulletproof by Dave Asprey, Ben Greenfield Show, Barbell Shrugged, and many, many more. Thank you for being here, Wade.
Great to be here, Hanna.
Or I guess you're there, right? We were just chatting a little bit before the show, and you are currently in Vancouver, but you had a unique response when I asked, like, "Oh, do you live in Canada?" And so,
yeah,
I both have this common digital nomad backpacking vein in what we do, right?
Totally. In fact, I got involved in digital nomad ship before it was called that. Like I went to Panama in 2005. I started an online business in 2004 with a business partner of mine that we're still running by today, which is now BiOptimizers. It was called something different then, but it morphed into the same company. And I got onto that whole live the dream lifestyle, work from your laptop, travel the world, integrate with other cultures, meet other like-minded high-performance entrepreneurs, and have a lot of world experiences. Kind of like what Tim Ferriss wrote about, right? In the 4-hour work week. I don't think any of us work 4 hours. That's the ironic part of it. Right. Certainly not Tim.
It was a sexy title. It has its purpose, right?
For sure.
Yeah. So Wade, you're obviously a high achiever. I mean, we learned a little bit about your just physical accomplishments, but also you've had, and you just kind of mentioned, other entrepreneurial endeavors. So what's your story? Where did all of this, achievement and creation start for you?
Well, I wish it was all like sexy and cool, but it's not. So I'm just like an ordinary kid from New Brunswick who grew up in a very rural place when, and in fact, and then what happened, and I'll kind of backstory this because it's, sometimes obstacles in life or challenges in life or are things that you never imagined are what shape you. And when I was 15 years old, my parents moved from a small village, a few hundred people, to like 5 miles to my nearest neighbor. It was a beautiful resort. They were caretakers of a wealthy person's resort, and we were the people that took care of it. But it was like 5 miles to my nearest neighbor. I'm 15 years old. It really sucked. I wasn't happy about it. I'm away from all my friends. And it was tough. And at the same time, my older sister gave me a bodybuilding magazine, and I saw this really muscular blonde guy on the cover named Troy Zuclato, just won Mr. California. He had pretty girls on there and being driven mad with testosterone at 15, like most young boys are. Like, oh wow, I don't look like him. Maybe I'll get girls if I do that. It doesn't work, but they sold me the lie. And then the third thing that happened is my sister was diagnosed with Hodgkin's disease, which is a form of cancer of the lymph nodes. Like this all happened like bang, bang, bang. Like, they say it comes in threes. And I watched her go through the medical model for 4 years before she died. And she was my older sister. So she was 22 when she died, and I was 18. I was just getting into college. And the as tragic as it is, it left a deep impression on me. Number one, your health is not a guarantee. Number two, neither is your life. Having her die at such an early age and having conversations with her about death and fear and something that most people don't want to deal with, I determined at that point that I was going to take chances in life. I was not going to be one that got to the end of life with regrets. I'd rather, roll in, go out in a barrel roll than to live a life of quiet desperation. And so those things kind of shaped me. And basically, I just tried a lot of things and failed a lot. And then every now and then, some of them work. That's really what it boils down to.
Yeah, no, I love that mentality. And I think that's what makes people successful in any endeavor is just the attitude that I'm not going to stop until I'm done. And even if it is messy or we hit rock bottom over and over and over, we just keep rolling and we just keep going.
One piece I wanted to add to that, I think was a critical component because I want to kind of live an earmark for people, is that and my life was out of control in that situation when I was 15, I picked up bodybuilding, and it was the only thing that I could actually have a little bit of control of, and I could see progress. So I think for just about anybody that wants to kind of rock their life, find something or take something they're passionate with. It doesn't have to be related to business or whatever. It could be just something they like. It could be painting or music or something that you can progressively make progress, that you can put effort in and you see progress. And I think that builds confidence for you to go off and try other things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Building that self-assurance, that self-reliance that you prove to yourself. Like for me, sometimes it's just like, I have a religious yoga practice and like I show up for myself and then I feel like, okay, I showed up for that. I can show up for other things and I can build self-confidence.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's huge. It's huge. And it's something that you have to do all the time because you do see these little incremental improvements and then you can apply it in virtually anything in life.
Yes. Yeah. And I think health is definitely one of those places that people can measure and see results and build that confidence. And it's clearly a space that you are an expert in. So I want to take a little bit of time to help people think about optimizing their health with you today. Because I've seen this other places and I don't know who said it first, but if you have your health, you can have 1,000 dreams. But if you don't have your health, you basically have one dream, and that's to heal or to feel better. So let's talk a little bit more about like what you teach and what you offer with BiOptimizers, because I know a lot of people listening would love to stay alive in a toxic world. Right. So what are the basics that you teach or write about?
Well, first and foremost, I want to clarify a couple of things. I'm dietary agnostic. And what I mean by that is I think that every diet because that's what a lot of people focus on, has advantages and disadvantages. For example, my business partner is a ketogenic guy and I'm a vegetarian. I mean, we couldn't really be much further apart on the spectrum. And I've experimented with a lot of different styles of diets and philosophies, and I would just say select the one that works best for you and remain flexible. Try not to get too identified with any particular group. That always is a position of weakness and can lead you to problems down the road. As far as BiOptimizers and what I did is, having been, I was a personal trainer for a decade, and then I had an online business where I coached 15,000 athletes, and then that expanded to over 50 or 60,000 clients now. Worldwide. And what I was able to get from all that data is that there was a lot of confusion and people didn't have and especially if you have limited resources, like where do I put the time, the energy, and the money towards what things in what particular order. And this was something that I worked on for many, many years. And I came up with what's called the Awesome Health Formula. Now, the Awesome Health Formula is an acronym. And it's actually it's designed to illustrate where you put your priorities and your importance as you go on. So A is for air, W is for water, E is for exercise. And when I mean air, I mean talking about learning a breathing practice. In my opinion, those three things are non-negotiable and have nothing to do with diets and are relatively inexpensive. Mm-hmm. Virtually anybody can, if you're listening to this podcast, you can do this and you can get an incredible amount of results out of a good deep breathing practice, making sure you drink the best possible water every day, 3-4 liters a day, and doing the daily exercise. And people say, what's the best exercise? Well, the one that you like, because you'll continue to do it, right?
Right. So
those things are non-negotiable. And then we get into what I call sunlight. And I look at the world as physicists would, and that is that everything is a vibration. Everything is a frequency. Mm-hmm. We interpret that as color. We interpret that as sound. We interpret that as taste. We interpret that as touch. But essentially, it's just all vibrations. And so is this a vibration that is lifting me up, or is this a vibration that's lifting me down? And that should be in all your areas. And then optimizers. So I looked at, this is kind of where my company came in particularly, which was, I looked at the things that make the cell. I look at people as a collection of cells, like you're made up of, a trillion cells, like, trillions of cells. So each one of those cells, what are the things that make those work optimally? And that is enzymes, probiotics, minerals, vitamins, essential amino acids, essential fatty acids, and herbs. Those things are things that have been proven throughout a long period of time to enhance your health. So if you're getting into supplements after you get your other things worked out, then I think that's a great thing. And then the last two are, M stands for mental beliefs and attitudes, which probably could be first, because if you have a bad mental belief and attitude, like if you got a bad attitude, like nothing will work. And if you have a good attitude, it's amazing what you can do with very little. And then finally is education, testing, and coaching. Education meaning to learn from within, to apply something and to see the results, feel the results, reflect on the results, and then make changes. Testing, and that's just whether it's the latest genetic testing, or whether it's just simply, I could walk up a flight of stairs this week, and I've been working at it for a week, and now I can walk up 2 flights of stairs. And then coaching is, in today's world, it's changing so quickly. I mean, I don't know how people don't, like, you just got to get a coach for almost everything nowadays, because like, it's like on online world is like dog years, right? It's like 1 year is like 7. So you really need to have essential coaches and to get in there and to work out the processes in anything that you want to be successful in.
Yes. Okay. I love this. It's almost like just back to the basics, right? These building blocks of sunshine and air and accountability, right? Things that we know, but I don't know. Yeah. I haven't heard it like structured like this, and just a really foundational, simple, basic understanding of, how to stay alive. And would you say that these are the things that help us stay alive in a toxic world? That title really intrigued me, because we hear so much today about detoxing and environmental toxins and hormonal toxins. But is this the basics, the basics to stay alive in a toxic world?
Well, I'll unpack that a little bit, because I think it's a really important perspective for people to have. And that is, in today's world, we're in this constant barrage against like an infinite number of toxins that are, creating free radical damage in our bodies, and creating the aging and degenerating process, which, is there's a reason why the beauty industry is so big, and there's a reason the health industry is so big. It's because people are trying to slow down this kind of degeneration. And the reality is, I think so many people are trying to worry about what they're ingesting or what they're taking in, as opposed to increasing their individual capacity to handle the toxins that are just present in the world. Like, you can't fix all the pollution in the world. You can't fix, all the chemical agents that might be in your dinner when you go to a restaurant. You can't, like these things are, I've tried that, I've done a full raw food diet and, lived, off the land kind of thing for a period of time as an experiment.
And had tons of friends, I'm sure, during that era of your life.
If you really get good at removing toxins out of your life, you'll find that you have absolutely no friends around. Like you live like a hermit in the middle of the, the woods in a cave, and you eat berries once a week. And so I think you bring up a good point. So the people who live the longest are the most socially adaptable, which is interesting. They, having connections and a purpose in life is very important. And I think in today's digital world, people oftentimes forget about how important it is to actually have physical touch with people, to connect with people, to go out and see them, to have real conversations and the kinesthetic aspects of life. So I think as we go more high tech, people will ultimately realize they need more high touch, because money and followers on your social media or whatever can never replace that intimate emotional feeling that we all need as humans.
Yeah, absolutely. Really, really good points. And I appreciate just kind of the overview and giving people permission to be flexible when it comes to optimizing our health. Because you're right, there's so many trends and things that we can get caught up or attached to. So really great resources. And I want to take a couple steps back because, we know you have this background as a personal trainer and you decided that you were going to kind of build your own life. But I'm also curious how you've gotten to a place now that you have a product and if that, and you're coaching. So a lot of listeners come to me and they're like, all right, I love this thing. Maybe it's fitness and nutrition. How do I monetize that? And so I'm curious sort of your progression or the entrepreneurial journey that you've been on.
Yeah, that's a great question. So it all started when I was 15, building my own workout garage. I had a barn in the middle of the woods and I built a Rocky studio and started learning that way. And my coaches were at that time from magazines and books that I read. I didn't have the internet, it just didn't exist back then. Mm-hmm. And so that led to going to university and studying exercise physiology, which led to me to work inside the field and deal with a lot of people in the field and then being mentored. And that was, I think, the big leap. When I got mentored with someone who was producing extraordinary results, my acumen went up. Probably I remember my first year, I exceeded 10 years of my own work in 1 year because I was able to draw from someone who was older, who was wiser, who was more experienced, and had already come to a significant number of conclusions that I haven't even thought of. And I could just incorporate all that right off the bat. And it just built my base very quickly. Then I went into personal training. So once I leveled, I had what I would call my calling card, my physical presence, I guess, and then my expertise of the years of study. So do your homework, get really good at what you're really interested and passionate in, and then start teaching people in your local community one-on-one. And that's what I did. And I did that for years. And eventually that led to opening and owning my own store. And then, by a chance, I had helped out a person. The other thing is I think you need to be kind to people. And this is important, be kind and go out of your way for people that you don't see a benefit from. In other words, someone calls you about something, you say, oh yeah, I know, you can go to that person or you can go to this person, and build a repertoire of people that comes up. Because what happened is I helped a friend of mine who was a personal trainer move out to Vancouver at the time. He was on the East Coast. I had met him and he was doing well there. And I said, you're going to kill on the West Coast. Let me help you. I came out, I helped him get his first gig here. And a few years later, he came to me after I went to the Mr. Universe contest and he said, hey, I think we can make money online. And I was like, oh, come on, man. Nobody's making money online. He goes, no, I'm doing really well online. I think we can, you know what I mean? I had no idea.
That's never going to last.
That's not going to work. No one's going to buy anything online, right? That's where I was. Yeah. And he said, listen, would you be willing to work with me on this? I said, okay. I said, I can write. I'll put together a book and you sell it. And it was at that time, it was a bodybuilding course, and it took off. And literally in 18 months, I replaced my 6-figure income from personal training. I was one of the who's who here in Vancouver in personal training. And then we moved off to Panama and started this whole digital lifestyle. I actually, this is a funny story. I actually had an online business making money, and I didn't even own a computer because I was working at one of those internet cafes. Yeah, and with the first money that we bought, I said, I guess I should go get a laptop. And so I bought a laptop with our first payments that we made. And I mean, that was back in 2005 to show you how far things have advanced. And now we have a virtual company with, I think, 26 direct employees and, spread out all over the world. Everybody works from home. We've got we manufacture stuff. We got 30 different, distribution and tertiary services working with us. It's crazy, how this all emerged. And it never would have had I not just reached out and helped somebody. So don't underestimate that part. Yeah. Do your homework, be kind, go the extra mile for people, and good things happen to you.
I'm so behind that philosophy. And Yeah, the power of people. And I think especially now, since the digital world has evolved so much that we think we can do it all by ourselves on a beach with our laptop in our own little bubble of Wi-Fi. And we're losing touch. And people I talk to are like, oh, networking events, or like, oh, I should just like reach out to people to collaborate and not just sell to them. And it's amazing how, quickly we're losing that art of just like helping people and trusting that the good things will be returned to us. Because at the end of the day, it is people who make things happen, not Alexa and robots. Okay. We need real people still to make products and dreams come to fruition.
Yeah, people are powerful. And for people that are wondering or might be stuck or not that social, I would suggest spending a little bit of time in a co-working space.
Yeah, not an internet cafe now, but you can go to the...
Yeah, these co-working spaces.
Yeah.
Oftentimes they have study courses, they have learning resources, they give lectures, and you can connect with people and you find... And all of a sudden, you're not this, solopreneur locked, in your computer at 3:00 in the morning, typing away,
right,
feeling you're all alone.
Right. So let's zero in for just a second into that moment you sort of touched on where it was like, that's never going to work. No one will do that. You can't make money online. And, now it's kind of laughable because we have hindsight. What do you wish you could have said to yourself or say to someone that's in that phase of like, oh, I don't think it's going to work for me. I should just stick to status quo or stick to what I'm doing, not try a crazy idea. What do you wish a coach or you could coach your former self at that time?
Yeah, don't be so sure about your own opinion. Essentially, there's more things that we don't know and will ever know than we possibly can know. And I think it's really important for people to say, when someone comes to you with something or an idea or something, is to try to remain open enough to actually hear what that person has to say and then consider it for a moment. It doesn't mean that you have to take action. It doesn't mean that that person is correct. But I think if you, again, maintain that flexible or yin posture as you go through life and see what happens, eventually you start living this kind of miraculous life. Like, I don't really know how I ended up in this situation. I'm just here. And you kind of learn as you go. And I think it's largely in part because of the relationships I've been able to build over time. And maybe growing up without the internet helped me in that area, or being, so deficient on people. Once I got to civilization again, I was so happy to deal with people. I don't know what it was, but that's what I would say. Don't be so sure about your opinions.
Yeah, that's huge. Okay, good. Well, Wade, you are already giving us so many like truth bombs and things to be thinking about. So I just have 3 last questions in like a pop quiz format. Are you up for it?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's fire away.
Question number 1 is, what is one action listeners can take today that will help them get closer to their dream life, in your opinion?
Deep breathing.
So interesting. I've heard that one a couple of times, like in the last couple of episodes. We're getting back to the breath. Good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Number 2 is, if you could hand every listener a gift, like some tangible resource that is going to revolutionize their life, what would you give them?
Well, I'm actually going to give them my awesome health course, because you get nowhere without your health. You talked about that earlier, and I'm going to give it to them today for free.
Oh, so that goes into question number 3, perhaps, which is, how can people stay connected and learn more about what you do?
You got it. So what I've done is I have a complete awesome health course. I give it away. It's basically 84 5 to 15 minute videos. It's designed to be done over a 12-week period, but you can burn through it if you want, or you could take 12 years if you want, or you can just kind of mix and match if you're already pretty advanced and just pick the topics you want. And basically it's a collection of all the people that I learned from. I summarized all those components and I put it in that systematic format of the Awesome Health Program. And we usually charge for it, but I'm giving it to everybody today for free. So they just go to BiOptimizers.com/dreamlife and you can access it.
Wow, people, this is literally priceless. So BiOptimizers.com/dreamlife. And, you said something earlier about how we need coaches for like everything in our life now. And I agree with that if you're committed, right? Like if you want the shortcut, people, Wade not only is giving you his support, right? He's giving you this course, but the support of all these other people who can give you a shortcut. So you're not stuck with piles of books and years of dieting or whatever you want to achieve. So literally, this is priceless. I'm writing it down. I'm super grateful, Wade, that you're gifting us with that.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I mean, we've had thousands of people go through the course. It gets a lot of value, and I basically just did a brain dump for people so they could just take my brain and borrow it and get the kernels and throw away all the years that it took me to find it.
Exactly. That's so valuable. Well, awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wade, again, for your time, your energy, and just doing what you do to help so many people find their optimal life and health. So listeners, I will be back next week with yet another guest that will help make your dream life your real life.
You've been learning how to make your dream life your real life with Hanna Hermanson. To get the resources mentioned on today's show and to listen to past episodes, visit www.dreamlifeisreallife.com.